So this will actually be pretty casual today. These are just like so this is CodeSignal, and it's a place where you can practice the. Can you guys hear me? Let me test for chat. Oh yeah, of course. So this is the very first problem that we're going to solve today, and it's pretty straightforward. So let me introduce the syntax of Kotlin. With a function, there is the name of the function, which in this case is add, and these are the parameters that you will receive as parameters of the function. And the first one is an integer, which has the name of parameter 1, and parameter 2, the parameter which has the name of parameter 2 is also an integer, and there's yet another semicolon. Is this semicolon, or I don't know, the two dot thing? That would be an integer, which is a return type. So this is where we return param1 plus param2, and as you can see that there is this is loading because I already finished these questions before, but never mind. Let's just go through it. So in CodeSignal, you will receive the skeleton or the name of the function, and you will need to implement the logic or algorithm yourself. So for this case, we know that we need to return an integer, which is the sum. Like here's the example, and for parameter 1 equals to 1 and parameter 2 equals to 2, we should output 3. So this is pretty straightforward. Just return. This is what you can. This is where you can return. Which by return I mean give the output of the function. So param1, and param2, and as you can notice here, we don't place semicolon like we do in Java, but it's you still can place it, but it's going to be it's not going to have any difference. So this is the case. Let's just simply return parameter 1 plus parameter 2, and let's submit the answer. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Correct. So I'm going to do this every time, maybe like 30 minutes a day. And I'm not sure, we're starting at 10 today, but I'm not sure I'm going to do it at 10 every day or not. I'm still deciding. So that was the first question, and here's the second question. Let's first read the description. Given the year, return the century it is in. And this is a simplified version of the century, I guess. Oh no, actually there's no difference. I was thinking about the millennium, the lunar year problem. Lunar year? No, not lunar, but leap year. Yeah. So the first century spans from the year 1 up to and including the year 100, and the second century is from 101 to 200, etc. So that's for 1905. It's in the 20th century, so we should return 20. So again, let's look at the function name and its parameters. So function again is the keyword that describes the function, and later followed by the name of the function, which is centuryFromYear. And there's one parameter for this case. It's a parameter with the name year, which is of type integer, and we need to return an integer 2, which is the century, but it doesn't have a name here, which is usually the case for most languages. And there's the I don't know what this syllable is, but yeah, there's a bracket maybe. There's the bracket, left bracket, and right bracket, and the right left bracket and right Like you need to write the logic, and whenever you have the answer or the output of the function, you can just write it there. So for this case, yeah, again, I'm already displaying the answer here, because from languages, from math, you can see that because from 0, 1 up to 100, we need to return 1, and that's actually the mapping. So for my formula here, because 1 plus 99 divided by 100 is 1, and again 100 plus 99 divided by 100 is 1. Well, if you are not familiar with any programming language here, this is the trick, because the divide in most of the languages, including Kotlin, when you divide an item, the remainder is going to be just thrown away. So 199 divide by 100 would be 1, remains 99, but the 99 is going to be discarded. So it's simply 1. So yeah, this is the answer here. Again, we directly return the answer by a math calculation. So that's it. Let's try it again, because I have already passed like the first seven items, I guess. So yeah, it should be correct, I guess. Yeah, 18 out of 18 has passed. So let's go to the next one. How can I navigate to the next one? Well, this is annoying, but yeah. So this one is a little bit more. I think it's more complicated now. So yeah, let's first ignore what I have written it before and try it from the very beginning. So given the string, check if it is a palindrome. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. A palindrome is a string that reads the same left to right and right to left. Let's look at the examples. So for this case, AABAA is true, because from left it's read AABAA, and from right it's also read AABAA. And for ABAC, from right it's read CABA. It's different, so it's false. And again, for input string is A, the output should be checkPalindrome, input string true. Yeah. So there are several ways that we can solve this problem. First of all, we can just look at the every item from every pair item of from the left to the middle. So it's going to check A, check A, check A, check A, equal, and check B equal. That's the first way we can solve this one. And let's look at the second example. Check A and check C, it's different, so it's false. And again, check A, it's true. Another way to look at this, and is also very simple, is to just create yet another string for this. Like for AABAA, we can just create a string that is AAB from the right to the left, so it's created as AABAA. And we can just check it with, like in Java, we can check if these two strings are equal. But the second methodology is a little bit more, you need some extra space to create this string. And in the meanwhile, it actually checks with equal. It checks all these 5 characters, so it's less efficient than the first methodology that I have introduced. But if you're doing a coding interview, if you have done wow, that's actually my case. That in my previous interviews, I tend to like speak out loud, and if there's a really simple version and you think it's not that bad, you can just discuss it with your interviewee, and if he would give you advices like that's too slow, or so don't it's usually better to write something that works but performs with lousy performance. That's better than write something that does not work but performs very good. So these are just strategies for interviews. So yeah, let's do this problem. So actually, I'm not sure how we can create another string with Kotlin. So, but I know the for loop style of yeah. Let's just look it up. For iterate and strings Kotlin. Yeah, that's a for loop for sure, but that's an array of string. I need a string version. Is there something that we can iterate through? Iterate through a string. Letter. Ah, there it is. For a letter in text, that's the Kotlin way to do that. So in, the keyword is in. So for actually that's not enough because I need an index so I can look at the first and the last one. So yeah, I need that's it. Item in text.indices. So string, and there's the indices. Item and text.indices. String. Let's follow the. Can you guys see this? Yeah. So for, I would say character and input string. Oh, sorry. Input string dot indices. Is that correct? Yeah. Var. That's a string. But where's my item? So that's actually an index. Character index. Let's be really clear here. So for character and input string dot instance, if what's the length of a string? My guess is simply dot length. So that's value VAL is the syntax of a constant in Kotlin. So here I'm going to declare an integer, but that's not how the syntax works in Kotlin. It's simply val length equals. I think it's like this. If I remember correctly. So this is it. Val length int, which is a type of integer, is equals to input string dot length. My guess. Let's first see if this compiles. Let's return anything, but just to check if this compiles. Oh, this semicolon is not needed here. So yeah, it compiles. So this is the way you declare integer in Kotlin, which is new to me too. But because the type here input string dot length is also always an integer, so it is explicit, or it can be determined. So you can also do this. It will still compile. And yeah, it compiles, but because I'm not even trying to write the correct answer, so so I need to implement it here. Again, for character index and input string dot indices. So actually, I'm assuming my audience to have written Java, but since this is the very first streaming, we can have some details here. So this is a recap of how an array or a list of items works in Java or Kotlin. The first item is actually at the zeros position. So for this case, actually this A is the zeros item, and this is the first item, and this one is the second item. A little weird, but that's how everything works in the most languages. So here we will need to first check, for every character we need to check the length minus character index -1. So let's be really explicit here. Value pair first equals to character index. Actually that's oops. Input string add character index. And there's another one, which is the pair second, which is at length -1 and minus the character index. So let's do a sanity check here. For this case, when the length is 5, let's do this. The first character index coming in is, like what I've said, is 0, and because the length is 5, 5 minus 1 minus 0 is 4, and yeah, that's the first one and the fourth one, and we can check again when there's 1. 5 minus 1 minus 1 equals to 3, and that's this one, and 0, 1, 2, 3, and this one. So yeah, this is working correctly. Yeah, let's check these two characters. If they are the same, we do actually, if they are not the same, we return false, because for any one of in the item, we can just if there's anything that is different in any iteration, in any loop, we can determine that it is not a palindrome. So if everything works well, we can return true here. I think this will work probably, but let's check if I have any syntax error. Is there something that's wrong? ABAC is expected to be false, but I'm returning true. Really? ABAC? Really? Oh, here it is. Because I returned true really early here. So let's try again. Oh, that's it. So this is an answer for, and there are some items that we can make it better here, because we're checking first, second, third, fourth, and the fifth, and after that we return. But actually, all we need to check is to the middle. So a way to write this is if character index is larger than length divided by 2, because for again, let's do some sanity check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For this case, all we need to check. Let's do this one. All we need to check is to the second item, which is actually the third item if you forget. So we need to check through from the 0th item to the second item. So if the character index is larger than half of the length, which is 5 divided by 2, which I have introduced earlier in today, is 2. So if it's larger than 2, we don't need to check anymore. So because there are, it could be the length can be odd or even, and there are some differences between, because when the remainder is 0 and the remainder is 1. So that's better. Just check again what happens when the length is a even number. So for this case, it's again 2 for length divided by 2. So again, all we need to check is the 0th and 1st, and when it's larger than 2, it's going to be, we don't need to check anymore. So this is valid. We can continue. I think there's continue in Kotlin, hopefully. So we actually still miss one. We still do an extra item for the case in 1, 2, 3, 4 when the length is even. But yeah, I don't want to be too overcomplicated today, so let's first do it this way. Did I actually submit earlier? Yeah, so that's another correct. Let's also take a look at the answer that I have previously submitted. Can I find it here? Me. It disappeared. So yeah, maybe next time. I think I copied it, but during the writing I have copied something else, so it's not there anymore. Yeah, so that's the first part of the intro, so feel free to do it yourself. I really recommend this CodeSignal site, and it's starting from the very, very simple item to some really challenging algorithmic problems. So again, let's first hide these items, and I'm going to paste this somewhere so that we can revisit later if I have a different item to show. So let's again look at the description. Given an array of integers, find a pair of adjacent elements that has the largest product and return that product. So this is actually, to me, just simply iterating through the items. So yeah, it's again this one for item in text.indices. So in this loop, we're going to travel from this to this. But this time, because we want a product product of the two adjacent elements. So we're actually, the first of the pair is this one. So it's going to be list 2. And then these two. So actually it's going to from here to here. That's the first pair, the first item of the pair. And from here to here. That's the second item of the pair. So so actually it's only the length is 6, but we only need 5 runs to determine the maximum of the product. So what should I return? I should return 21, so it's the product itself. Okay, so if text, so again, let's be really clear here. Value, what's the value? Length equals to text, it's input array of length. So here we're seeing a new type, new class here, a mutable list of integer. What's a mutable list? Let's take a look. Mutable list is extending list interface and mutable collection. And is there any description about how this is? Well, I'm still not familiar with these Kotlin docs yet. But how can I see what are the derived class of a mutable list? That's hard for me. But yeah, but we know it's extending a Java list. Anyway, so let's treat it as a list, and it's definitely going to be iterable, so I think this is going to work here. So length is the length of the, is it still length? I'm not sure. Again, okay, let's first check with compiling and return whatever here. Return 1. Oh, actually we have the doc, so yeah, it don't know what's this. It's actually, let's see, maybe size, because size, I don't see it here, but let's try size, because size is what we use in the list interface. I think this is going to be the last problem I'm going to solve today, because I go to bed early. There is no expression size of type integer cannot be invoked as a function. A function invoked. So this is, we have a parameter here, not a function. This is something that I always can't get used to for Kotlin, because for getter they are exposed. Yeah, they have the parameter simply exposed like a parameter. So this is actually calling some function there, I guess, but we can use it as a public member of the object. Let's first see if anyone is okay. No. So let's try this again. So this compiles. So we have the size now. And for item and text.indices, if item, again, this is, I like to call it index. If index is larger or equal to length, no. So let's see, let's call it last index equals to length minus 2. Why is it minus 2 here? Because this the last index of the input array is at length minus 1. Let's count it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is fifth. The fifth item is the last one. While this, the size of this is apparently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the last item is always at the length minus 1's item. So this time, because we want the last item of the pair, again pair here. The last item of the pair is at the fifth, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4th. The fourth item, so it's length minus 2 here. Let's call it last index of pair first. That's a really long name, but let's do it here. So if it's greater than last, we're going to simply skip it. And what's next? Let's see. So now we have these index iterating from 0, 1, 2, 3 to 4. So what we're going to do is we have a variable. This is something new to Kotlin too. So value, VAL, I'm not sure if actually value, but VAL is a constant, which is a variable, not variable, a parameter holder which you declare and you cannot change it. If you try to override this here like this, it's not going to compile. This is wrong. So, but for variable, you can do that. So this is why I'm going to declare a variable here. Variable max is an integer, and it defaults to. So here's the constraint. The input array is going to be from this to this. So it is possible that there is a minus 1000 and a 1000, which the product will be, if we have an array like this, it's going to minus 1000, 1000, minus 1000. The answer should be minus 1,000,000. So it's tempting to start it with 0 here, but that's going to be incorrect. So let's start it with the smallest possible value. Actually, I think there's something that in a Kotlin integer that represents the smallest number for an integer, because that's what happened in Java too. So is there like the smallest? I can't. Minimum value? Minimum value? Is there like, is it this? I don't know. What's the course minimum? Let's try minimum. Ah, here it is. There's a min value field we can use here. So let's start it with this one. So again, every time we would like to calculate this 3 times 6. So that would be in the input array index times input array index plus 1. So, and that would be assigned to max. Again, here we're using a variable here. So at the very last, we're going to simply return max. Oh, I'm doing the semicolon again. That's my bad habit of Java. Oh, here, unresolved reference text, because there's no text. There's only an input array. Yeah. Happy copy pasting. I hope this compiles, because I'm already a little bit tired. Oh, it compiles, but the answer is incorrect. Let's take a look. So for this case, 3 times 6 is 18, and blah, minus 12. And this is 10, I guess. minus 35, and this one is 21. So I'm doing well on this one. 21 and 21. That's expected. But for this one, there's a exclaimer here, and it should be. It is expecting 6, but I'm outputting 4. That, you know why? Because I'm simply outputting the last item here. Look at this. Every time I'm overriding the max here. So these iterations are actually kind of meaningless here. It's actually simply doing like max equals input array fourth item times input array, or let's put it this way, last index of pair first times input array last item of pair first plus 1, because I'm always overriding the max here. I'm not doing any comparison here. So this is where the problem is. So we're going to be, is there an integer.max? I guess. I hope so, but I don't see it here. Maybe Math.max of Kotlin. Is there such thing? Yeah, there it is. So there's a max which is in the package of. How do I use this? This is hard to read. Let's first try simply doing, what's the name, max, and see if it works. So we're comparing the max. I don't think this is going to work because this max is ambiguous. It's both the variable and the function name, so I don't think this is going to compile. But the concept behind this is we like to take the bigger of this one and this one. Yeah, it's not working. So max, I think it's this one, isn't it? So yeah, I can do it, absolute value. No, I want max. So should I do it like this? I don't know. Let's go ahead and try. No, it's not working. Mismatch. So how am I going to call this max here? Anyone have idea in my audience? Anyone? No? So let's take a look at how to call this, and Kotlin integer.max. Or math. I can't remember actually what we use in Java, but I think this one is going to have it. Max. Oh, it's using it directly, but why? Import Kotlin.math is it this one? Oh, can we import something and CodeSignal? I don't know. But it's going to be, oh, maybe this, I don't know. This one, is this going to work? I'm going to take a pick at what I had in the last iteration. Oh, it actually works. So that's the full name of the function. So max is actually in the Kotlin.max package. Yeah, package. And we can use it with the full name Kotlin.math.max. So yeah, that's the answer. And I guess that's it for today. Let's take a look at what we have learned today. So the first lesson today is we can iterate through the string, any string or any iterable with this syntax with the in keyword. And if you want the indices, you can just dot indices at the bottom at the end of the parameter that you want to iterate through. And mutable list is a type of list, so we can simply do the dot size here rather than do the did someone respond to me? No. We can just do the size here rather than call the size which we have in Java list. Let's take a look. So there's a size. There's a size. Where it is? Here. There's a size function here, but in Kotlin it is treated as a property. And last but not least, we can use the Kotlin.Math.max to use the max function defined in Kotlin. Yeah, I think that's for today. See you next time, guys. I hope I can do this tomorrow, hopefully. See ya.